Hey guys, welcome back to Slow Travel Chronicles. My name is Stephanie and this is my husband Garrett. In this week's video, we are going to talk to you about if we liked Merida, Mexico. We spent a month there this January, February to get out of the cold weather in Memphis, and we're going to walk you through our thoughts on the city as well as our costs. So in the last couple of videos, when we recapped our time in cities, I covered 5 or 6 different touch points. We're going to try to follow those same touch points this time as well. The first being, did we think Merida was safe? What are you laughing for?
Yes. I'm waiting to say it. The answer is yes. It's always yes.
Okay, well, it's not always yes. I'm going to say that it's dependent on where you go.
Okay.
He makes fun of me all the time. If you're in like the Centro area, you're safe. In the neighborhood we stayed in, I felt safe. But I read in different travel forums about the stray dogs. And I'm a chicken, in case you did not know. I'm a chicken about things. And so I was very apprehensive about stray dogs. And there were a couple of times that it was dark out, or I was fearful because I had seen some stray dogs that I made Garrett take Ubers when he did not want to. So I'm just saying that so you understand there are some stray dogs. We never had an aggressive dog, but we did see one that looked like it could have been.
Yeah, we probably saw a half a dozen stray dogs during our month in Merida, one of which looked like it strayed and wanted to kill people.
I know.
It was evil looking.
I know, but the messed up thing about that dog was that it was a boxer, and I love boxers. We have had numerous boxers. Whenever we stop traveling, I will get a boxer. My daughter wants our daughter wants a boxer. We love boxers, but this one, it did look, I was hopeful it would come to me, and then I saw its face and I was like, no.
And there were also several locals on the street, and they wouldn't even get near it. They were crossing the street to avoid this dog. So watch the dogs.
Yeah, watch the dogs. And, you know, I don't know if I mentioned already, I forgot already, we did not stay in the city center. We were a good, 15 to 20 minute walk from the city center.
Correct.
But it was fine.
We were about a 15-minute walk northwest of the city center. I think technically we were still in the central area, but we were,
on the very
edge of it, yeah.
Yeah. So our next touch point is, was it clean?
Depends on where you are.
I was waiting for a yes. I was going to say...
I would say yes overall. If I had to pick one.
Yes, if you were in a touristy area, it was clean. If you were in like the park area, like La Plancha Park, it was super clean over there. There were other sections though that were kind of hit or miss, but overall I would say yes, it was clean. Now, walkable is the next touch point.
How much do you like walking over like uneven steps, broken concrete, and trash?
And I did fall.
She did fall.
I did
It was
fall.
her own fault. But the sidewalks, at least in the area we were staying in, were extremely uneven, haphazard. For the most part, we got to the point we just walked in the street instead because it was a lot easier. In Centro, they're renovating it. The sidewalks are very wide, they're nice, they're flat, they're perfect. Out by the park, same thing. But if you're in a residential neighborhood or you're out of the tourist zone, it's like walking through a landmine.
Yeah, it's up, down, up, down, up, down. And it also depends on I guess your definition of walkable. We were, like I said, 15 to 20 minutes into Centro. That might be too far for you. I mean, it's doable, but Ubers were super cheap.
Yeah, we walked 90% of the places we went to. If we went to a grocery store or if we were in Centro like 10 o'clock at night, a lot of times if we were just tired, we just Uber home because it was like $5, but otherwise it was walkable.
Or it was because I was afraid I didn't want to walk.
Dogs.
Afraid of the dogs at night because you can't see them. So anyway, so we're going to give that was there plenty to do? And I'm going to say no, but I'm going to throw out that we did not get motivated to do some of the things that were available to us to do.
Correct.
We did not visit the cenotes and we did not go to the Mayan ruins. All that said, we were there for 28 days. Even if we added in the cenotes and the Mayan ruins, you wouldn't do those every day anyway. You might have been able to like knock off an extra 3 days of activity,
Oh, easily.
maybe 4. But because of that, I would say no.
There are several things to do there, except the tourist things to do take about 5 minutes each. I mean, they have several museums, but they're like 3 rooms or 4. I mean, they're just small for the most part. It is also very Mayan oriented. We were not really into doing the Maya things for many reasons, one of which we were in Belize a few years ago, and we did all those things in Belize. So we didn't feel like repeating or doing something very similar to what we'd already done. So we did not take advantage of a lot of what there is to do, but it depends on what you're comparing it to. Is there stuff to do there? Yeah. Is there stuff to do there like there's stuff to do in Rome? No.
Now, I don't think at the time we regretted not going to the cenotes. Now I kind of wish we did so that we could say we did it, but the weather, when we looked at the outside temperature and the temperature of the water, it just seemed like it would be like freezing, and that was not.
Yeah, the water in the cenotes is fairly cool, which would be great if it was hot out, but we had some hot days, but for us it really wasn't that hot there.
Yeah, for example, we had a pool in the backyard of our Airbnb, and we never got into it.
Too cold.
And that kind of drove up some of our accommodation costs because we wanted to have that and then never used it, so that was kind of a waste of money. Next up, was the beer cheap?
Not really.
Yeah,
It was comparable to U.S. prices, really.
Yeah, and the funny thing is Coors Light was cheaper than Tecate. Go figure.
Yeah,
that
unless
was weird.
Tecate was on sale, but it was basically $10 for a 12-pack.
Yeah. Well, that will just prove that we continue to drink cheap U.S. beer because the price is comparable. Did we find it affordable?
Depends on your definition of affordability. I mean, the answer is yes. If you're coming from the U.S., it is no more expensive and less expensive in many ways, but it's not cheap.
Yeah, it wasn't as inexpensive as we had hoped, and part of that was our timing. We also went during high season in winter when everybody else was wanting to get out of the cold weather. So maybe had we gone in May, June, July, it might have driven the cost of accommodation down. And we, like I said, we wanted a pool, so we were a little bit picky about our accommodation. If I had to do it over again, I think I would have stayed closer to Centro so that it would have been easier to go there and do, like, even if we were just walked around the same area over and over, but we could visit it at night and see some of the shows multiple times. But would you go back, and did you like it?
I would say, hold on a second, on the affordability thing, if you're going to grocery stores and restaurants in Centro, it's the same cost in the U.S. If you're out in the suburbs like we went to quite a few restaurants that were nothing more than a couple of plastic tables and chairs that were cheap.
And they were good.
I mean, really good. So you can make it more affordable, at least from a food and beverage standpoint, if you avoid Centro and go out farther. But if you're in Centro, it's expensive. Would I go back? Probably not, mostly because I've been there and there's too many places to go. And I mean, I liked it, but I didn't come away with like, wow, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, regardless of what city we're in, I start getting bored at about the 3-week mark. I think I might have had that happen a little bit earlier, but I don't know if that was our location. If we found a super deal, super cheap flight, and we wanted to get out of the cold, maybe we would, but like Garrett said, I don't need to go there.
I think it's one of those places, my impression at the time was, if you want to study Mayan culture and you're really into Mayan culture and Mexican stuff, it's great. If you have no choice, but someone put a gun to your head and said you're moving to Mexico, I think it'd be a pretty good place to live, actually. But if you're just going to go there and spend time there just to spend time there, it's just kind of like, okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So now you're probably wondering what we spent. So we spent a total for 28 days there, $4,098.77. That was a lot.
It was a damn Airbnb.
Yeah, so that For 28 days, that comes out to $146.38 a day. Now, in that is our accommodation, which was $2,042.71. That's with a 10% discount. So typically, when you book 28 days or more with Airbnb, you get a much higher discount than that, but it was only 10%. I don't remember how far in advance we planned it, but we struggled to find accommodation that looked nice, and I am picky in that time of year.
At the time, it was the most amount we'd ever paid for a 1 month Airbnb. It has since been surpassed by a little bit, but when we went, it was pretty much by quite a bit the most we'd ever paid for an Airbnb.
Yeah, our flights down there, and actually we flew in and out of Cancun, were $885. That's for both of us, so those were pretty reasonable. For the bus to Merida and Ubering around, we spent a total of $223.96. Food and entertainment, so that includes groceries, going out to eat, beer.
More beer.
Just food, not our entertainment. Food and going out to eat, going out for drinks was $927. And we talked about entertainment and how it was quick. A lot of it was free, which was good. The light shows were good. We paid to go into 2 museums. For a total of $20.10 for both of us. And that is what we spent. Up next, we're going to we leave Merida and we head over to Playa del Carmen, where we celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. We'll show you the Hilton Resort that we stayed at in our next video. Come back next Thursday to see that, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, do all of the things. It really does help our channel out. We'll see you next Thursday. Have a great week.
Later.